Okay.
Okay, thank you once again. We have 12 people joining for the January edition of this initiative. This is season 2, session 5, if I'm right. Overall, we are meeting for the 11th time since 2024. Thanks to Shalini, who is spent is busy on a Friday afternoon, but she is doing the second session from her side. Her first session was on gratitude 1.0, on creating positive change. We have validated beneficiaries in this call, one being Rekha, who has started journaling after hearing from Shalini. I think she told the story. Maybe it's not. Maybe we'll have Rekha share her thoughts and her changes or transformation towards the end. Today, we are meeting Shalini again for 201 on gratitude, uh, on the topic. Not only change or move to action, right? Move to action is the
Yeah,
larger
correct.
theme.
Correct.
Is the larger theme. Over to you, Shalini. Thank you so much again for your time today.
Thank you. Let me share my screen and get started. So I'll be on camera and off just in between, but then come back again on camera, for questions and answers at the end of the session. Just a moment. Let me know if you can see my screen. Um,
We can, but not the deck per se.
what about now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, just a moment. Okay, so that you can see the deck fully. Yeah, okay. So, once again, good evening, everyone, and thank you. Good evening, everyone, and good morning, Sharath. Thank you for taking time to be here um, at this hour, and thank you, Madanish, for creating this platform for us to connect and learn from each other every month. It's been exciting to be here as a learner, as well as this time, to share my perspectives on what I'd like to call as gratitude 2.0. Last time we spoke a lot about how to feel good, what it does to oneself, but this time session is going to be about moving from feeling good to creating change, and that's what we will be focusing on. So I'd like to start by asking you something very simple. You can do show of hands. You can, just do virtual show of hands as well. Um, how many of you believe gratitude is important?
Yes, yes, from my
Okay.
side.
Yeah, I see some emojis going up as well. Okay. So, you know, maybe I'll ask for something a little more deeper. How many of you believe gratitude can actually change the direction of your life? You can just say, or yes, share some emojis just based on what your belief system is. So, more like, not just make you feel good for a few minutes, but just make you feel like a positive person, but actually change your decisions, your opportunities, your relationships, and your future. So, something more tangible than just more like, yes, I believe it's important, but actually bring about a change. So, I think we have a very aligned audience, so that's great. So, this evening, I primarily want to talk about gratitude at a completely different level. Not just gratitude as politeness, a nice habit, or something we do when life is already going well. I want to talk about gratitude 2.0 as something that moves from feeling good to creating change, involving some scientific facts and real life stories. Okay, so that's what our today's session is going to be about. I think it would take me about 45 minutes to an hour, and well within the time we are allotted. And but prior to that, I want to start with, is my screen? Sorry, I think I'm not showing my screen. Okay, so prior to that, I want to touch upon two quick points. One is why me, and the second is, we do a short recap on the first session that we had on this topic. Maybe I'll take 2 to 5 minutes just to be really quick, because I think the foundations are very important. We see some participants who are continuing from the first session, but I think a lot of you are also new. So, just for the benefit of the wider audience, we do a quick recap. Okay. So, on the first point of why me, so I got introduced to gratitude journaling in 2015. So, it's been about 11 years now. And the first time I heard about it, it was in a podcast I was listening to. So, I just took a chance to try it out. And ever since then, I have been hooked. Okay. So, just to give you a perspective, I'm just going to show you. Can I switch my camera here?
What do you mean by switch?
Switch meaning like turn the side of the camera.
Meaning
Um,
you have to change the laptop's direction. I know, I'm not sure. Is it
no,
like,
no, no.
You want
are you
this
connect?
back camera?
One moment.
Have you
Yeah,
done it? Plugged in
go
phone or
Ah,
something?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
to the
Does
video and
it?
I think you can change from the video.
Okay, okay. Do you see me?
Yeah, we
Yes.
can see you.
You can. Okay, okay, fine. Okay. The reason I wanted to switch is to just tell you, like, how addicted I am to gratitude journaling. So all that you see here are like my journals from the last 10, 11 years
Wow.
that I have been using. So this is like literally like a everyday practice for me. Okay. And Rekha, I'm very happy to know that, you have benefited from it. You kind of practice it. So, would really love to hear your story as well, towards the later part of the session. So, yeah. So coming back to the topic. Um, so for me, I would say there are two different points with respect to where I have felt the benefit of gratitude. Um, for me, in the form of journaling, but also in every other way. So, one is definitely for all the good things you can create with your life. To me, it brought in a lot of clarity. It helped me focus on aspects I find meaning in and use it to build my life. And this can be in all areas of your life, including relationships, health, finances, hobbies, work, everything, right? So that's the nice part, the good part of, how you can construct your life by bringing in more clarity on topics that you want to focus into. And the second part, it has also helped me deal better in the not so good situations that life surprises you with. So that has also been like a really huge thing. How I might have approached a situation, if not for gratitude journaling, would have been very different to how it has been because, it is now a part of me. So, given practicing gratitude has helped me so much and continuing to do so, I thought, why not learn more about it? So I did a lot of informal reading through books, podcasts, and all, but also I did a formal certification through the Global Sciences Foundation. So, just to want to, align my informal understanding to the formal sciences of, why this thing that I'm hugely benefiting from is so important. And, I'm also going to bring all of those learnings into our session today. Okay. So that's the why me part. And moving on to the next part of recap, I'll take a few quick minutes. So, yeah. So, moving on to the recap of the first session I had for this group, the topic at that time was power of gratitude and positive thinking. I feel it's really important because it kind of forms the basis of everything that we're going to talk about today. All of them are very simple ideologies, but something we have to, consciously imbibe. Okay. So the first thing we spoke about last time was, changing your mindset, which is your energy from focusing on things that are not going so well in our lives to things that we are happy about. So, just as a general habit, focusing on the positives than complaining about the not so good things. A second, we spoke about gratitude. That seems to be the gift that keeps on giving more. In essence, you attract more of what you're thankful for. So, that's the background. I mean, that's the baseline for, the law of attraction, as well as, gratitude when it comes to you receiving more of where your energy goes, what you're thankful for. So rather than focusing on not so good things, focus your energy on things that you're happy for. So just so you get more of it. Third thing we saw last time was, everything in this universe is energy. So an energy vibrates at a certain frequency. And when we say this can be depicted through a small formula where we say energy is a combination of vibrations and frequency, where vibration is your thought and frequency is your emotion. And I want to explain this just a little bit with an example. Let's say, you have good energy. So when you think of, let's say, going on a vacation, you're generally excited about it. The emotion associated with it as you approach it is with a sense of excitement, right? So you have this positive feeling. So on the other hand, when you think about having an interaction with someone whose company you don't enjoy, you approach it with a possibility to avoid it. It is the same thought plus emotion in both situations, but the energy involved is totally different. On one hand, like a vacation, it excites you, and that's the emotion. Whereas on the other hand, it is a conversation, which is the action, but you approach it with the emotion of avoidance. So every time energy is something which is, yes, something that you want to do, but also the emotion attached to it being very important. So that's also what we saw last time. Then we spoke about two types of emotions: power emotions versus forced emotions. We saw this list. This list had things of good emotions like power emotions like peace, joy, love, acceptance. At the same time, we had, forced emotions, or the not so good emotions like anxiety, grief, apathy, guilt, anger, and so on. Um, so yeah, so we then came to a point where we discussed that courage and acceptance are the two intermediaries between the power emotion and the force emotion, which basically converts a force emotion to a power emotion. For example, let's say, you have a child who is throwing a tantrum. You can, if you also approach it with a force emotion by being angry or trying to create fear, it's not going to go great. But probably you just have to accept it and then show some love, create joy, So that's the way you convert a force emotion to a power emotion. On the other hand, let's say you're fearful about something. That in that case, you have to accept it and face the situation with courage to move to, let's say, you feeling confident or you feeling joy from the outcome of something, rather than tackling it with another force emotion like, let's say, shame or guilt of not being able to do something well, right? So this is another topic that we spoke about last time. And then, okay. Then we spoke about subconscious mind, how it focuses on the topic at hand, and it does not know the difference between wanting something and not wanting something. For example, you can wish for wanting to be healthy, or you can wish for not, or you can, sorry, you can wish for wanting to be healthy, or you can wish for not wanting any sickness. In essence, it means one and the same. Whereas the subconscious mind does not know the difference between want and do not want. So it is only focusing on the topic. So in this first case, it's just focusing on health. And the second case, it's just focusing on sickness, because you're saying, I do not want sickness. So it's focusing on sickness. So It's important to tell the subconscious mind whatever you want in a positive way rather than using negative terminologies, because it really understands just the subject and not if you want it or you do not want it. So this is something that we saw last time. So, while we understood what were the different things or different emotions we wanted to experience, we we also found hacks through everyday activities to help raise your vibrations higher through um, having things to do like meditation, gratitude journaling, movement. It could be exercise, it could be dance, it could be playing a sport, anything. Nature therapy, music, positive visualization and affirmation. So, and we probably also delve deep into how we should do gratitude journaling, how we should create affirmations and practice them. Um, Also, it is important to have the right emotion when you do your affirmations, either when you say them, when you write them, and not just approach it monotonously, which was important. We saw the power of compounding in tuning the subconscious mind to focus on topics that are of interest to our goals, using techniques that we discussed. So this power of compounding is really important, because the more you tune your mind to focus on good things, your subconscious mind automatically starts doing it. You can experience it even in your everyday life. Let's say, you are discussing about buying a vehicle, you're discussing about buying a home, um, you know, or discussing about a particular sport you want to involve your child in. Let's say your interest at that point in time is on a particular topic, then you suddenly notice that you start seeing more of it around you. Let's say in advertisements, you probably hear people talking about it. So likely it was always there, but it's just that your mind is now tuned into this topic of interest, and then you start looking for it everywhere subconsciously. So um, which was what we discussed in terms of doing something repeatedly, like gratitude journaling, affirmations, visualization, and all of it. Um, because I think the power lies in consistent practice, rather than, doing it one off. I mean, doing it one off is a good start, but to get the benefit of it always, throughout, I think the power of compounding was really important. Um, and then we spoke about visualization of your goals, how you can do it, also either as pictures or writing a detailed letter to yourself. And through it all, what is really key is for you to have enough clarity to be very specific about what you visualize. And you can, it could be visualization of things, it could also be visualizations of experience, because a lot of times we think we need these things to experience certain emotions like happiness, freedom, and so on. But maybe what we essentially only need are those emotions we want to experience. What gets to those emotions is, through your limited understanding, could be these two things, but probably there are more. So it's also wise to visualize what emotions you want to feel. And, probably the things that lead you to that comes in different forms. Some you know and some you don't. And we ended the session with the understanding that, it is not happiness always that brings us gratitude, but just having gratitude can also bring us happiness. So, in essence, I think that's a quick summary of what we discussed in our session last time. So hopefully for those that were not part of the first session, you kind of get a gist. And then we can move on to what's new for all of us now. So, we spoke about gratitude, we spoke about law of attraction last time, but actually, from just feeling good to creating real change, there are a lot of laws of universe that guides us. And these laws of universe are very, very similar to just laws of gravity. Like, for example, if I hold a pen and leave it, it will fall down. Similarly, if Madanish holds a pen and leaves it, it will fall down, right? So it doesn't depend on who does it or how it is being done, but in a particular setup, if you do something, it will work the same way, similar to laws of physics. These are 12 universal laws. Okay. We're going to focus on the 6 of them that are to our left. I'm saying 6 while there are 7 because we already spoke about law of attraction in the first session and we had a gist about it. So the remaining 6 are what we will be focusing on. So the first one, okay. Okay, so the first one is the law of oneness. What this is, so this is a foundational law that helps us with understanding the rest, and it helps us understand that we are all connected um, in some form with each other, but also with everything around us. So that is what is law of oneness. So I think in the Q&A session that happened at the end of last session, I think it was Nitin Balaji, if I remember right. He was us. I mean, when we were talking about different emotions, he also spoke about um, when we help someone out, we feel good, though we are the one helping them, but we also feel good, right? So, one of the primary reason for that is this law. So when you help someone out, you feel good. When you have to be rude to someone, you don't feel so good. Or just as a different example, think of a situation, a similar Friday, and you've had a good day at work, interesting conversations, positive feedbacks. You come back to your family energized and you want to plan and do something nice together, right? On the other hand, let's say you have some stressful conversations at work, your neck and shoulders are stiff from mental fatigue, and you overthink, um, and you come back feeling tired. You either try to spend time alone, try to make yourself feel better, or you force yourself to have a meaningful engagement with your family. So two situations, and you see the ripple effect, right? One, something nice happens, somebody compliments you at work, you feel also energized, you come back, and the good feeling passes on to your family. And whereas on the second situation, it's just the opposite. What you pass on is something not good, or you try to distance yourself, and the day goes differently. So this is a small example that we saw of law of oneness. um, Essentially, to get to the summary, this law means we all are and we are all connected to the source energy. And understanding this sets us up well for the other laws that we're going to discuss. So, moving on to the second one, which is law of vibration. So, here I want to quote experiment, okay, which was done by a Japanese scientist, who's also an author, Dr. Masaru Emoto. So he did this scientific testing using positive affirmations and negative affirmations on different things. Okay. So one of it was a jar of rice, and the other is famously water. I will tell you why it is famous later on. So his hypothesis was that, human consciousness has a direct effect on the physical reality. Okay. In essence, like, what you think, is what brings your is what makes your reality. Okay, so your thoughts make your reality, in essence. So if you look at Dr. Emoto's experiments, you will see that by speaking positively, he had different jars of rice. So to the jars of rice that he spoke positively, the rice stays relatively clean, it doesn't mold as quickly. Similarly, to the jars of water that he spoke positively, at a molecular level, um, when they looked at the water molecules in the microscope, they had beautiful crystal designs and so on. And whereas on the negative side, if they And the negative, for the jars where he spoke negative words, thoughts, or emotions, the water took a very unpleasant, disfigured state when water molecules from those jars were looked into in the microscope. Okay, so water therapy works also in the same logic. In fact, in our Indian context, the reason why some rivers are considered sacred, there are prayers, rituals being performed in riverbanks, religion agnostic. All faiths have their own form of holy water, and the equivalent of, let's say, prasadam, which they believe holds something good, and and people consume them, people take them as something that cleanses the space. You spray certain sacred water around the house and so on. So all of this comes from the same understanding of how vibration and water work together. Actually, water holds memory, and our bodies are about 70% water. I think roughly our brains are 70% water, our hearts also 70%, lungs 80%, skin 60%, and so on. This is even more reason for us to be sure to charge ourselves with positive and uplifting messages. So, this in essence, the story in essence is the law of vibration. Um, so, how you have to be in a certain frequency of radio to get um, to listen to a certain station. Similarly, it's important for us to be tuned into a certain high frequency to get things that are in that frequency that is available as well. So, it's always good to talk positive things, do activities that energize you. So, all of these help raise the vibration. Maybe it's as simple as, sometimes when you go to a certain place, you feel more energized. When you're in a different kind of get together, you feel like you're just waiting to go back home and take a nap because you feel completely drained. So it is all a combination of, the vibration, yeah, vibes is a more cooler term to say these days, but it is also scientifically true. So that was law of vibration. We're going to look at all of these six laws individually, and then at the end, I'm going to connect them as to how, along with gratitude, it would make our lives more meaningful, and how we can use each one of them to help build the life and we desire for and we like. Sorry, I'm just getting some water. Okay, so the third point, the third law we're going to talk about is law of action. So, taking inspired action, um, trusting in the process, enjoying the process, and not focusing on the outcome. This is very important, okay? Not focusing on the outcome or asking things like, how will I achieve the outcome, right? So, what is really important in this law of action is your objective, um, you, and through your understanding, that to get to that objective you need to take these steps. Sometimes the outcome isn't always directly related to the effort you put, but there are a lot of other external factors which it could affect. But just with how you approach, and through this universal law, all that it asks for you to do is for you to do your best. Of course, just aspiring through law of attraction, having great visualization, and affirmations will not do the job unless you take action. So, inspired action is very important. At the same time, don't always think like, oh, I did this. Is the output there? Has the result come? So, leave the outcome, leave the results. Your job is to do what action you think is important. So do the action, trust in the process, enjoy the process, very importantly. And it is all about taking step by step action in the right direction with complete faith and belief. Taking actions that feel exciting and aligned with your intuition rather than just, um, doing like hustling it out because you have to, or doing it out of fear. No, because like I said right at the beginning, emotions are very important. um, do it with joy, do it with belief, and so that's what law of action is about. I mean, no other specific surveys or stories to share here, but just in simple terms, how we should approach action when we are focusing on achieving something. And then the next one is law of correspondence. So here you're basically telling the universe how to communicate with you, right? How do you want to be treated? So your external world is a direct reflection of your internal landscape. So your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, all of these act as a mirror. They change your inner world, which is your mindset, and the outer world, which is your circumstances, will automatically follow. So, if you feel something in your outer world isn't how you would expect it to be, rather than trying to fix it, I think it's important to self reflect on how you are, and then realizing, could changing something within you actually bring about that change that you're looking for in the outside world? Because, it basically is a reflection of your inner self. So, as a simple example, let's take performance review process in most organizations. Let's say you're expecting promotion next year, and in your goal setting for the year before, you list your goals, which will also include, let's say, skills expected of the higher grade you are aiming for. So you showcase your skills, including a couple of skills needed in your higher grade, acknowledging that performance you are in for promotion, right? So you have to be something you're aiming for before you actually get it. Even in the professional setup, it could be something as simple as dressing more put together than dressing casually. Let's say when you started work 15 years ago versus going that extra mile, wearing something clean and crisp. um, you know just the effort and the thought that you put together paves way to how the universe responds back to you, right? So even in case of, let's say, these office promotions, right, like you need to show that you are doing the role of your next higher grade to actually get promoted to that higher grade. So this is just probably a very relatable example. So, and but everything in the universe works that way. So for you to, probably people say it in the sense of fake it till you make it, but there is no real faking here. It's just about, putting yourself a bit out of your comfort zone, trying to be who you actually want to be, is what this whole law of correspondence is about. Because you try to be who you want to be, then everything around you also takes a step forward to help you actually get there. So that's what that is. The next one is law of attraction. We spoke a lot about it. In essence, you attract what you focus on. If you're focusing on the good things, you get more of it, and vice versa. So, not going more in detail here. The sixth is the law of cause and effect. Every action, thought, or event which here is the cause, produces a specific corresponding result, which is the effect. You know, you can also summarize it as something like what you sow is what you reap. Everything happens for a reason. In physics, for example, there is the law of cause and effect, which matches with Newton's third law, which states for every action there is a equal and opposite reaction. So it essentially is that, even in the real world. So, in Indian philosophies, also in the wider Eastern philosophies, it is often referred to as a law of karma, but regardless of the name, the concept remains the same. Here, the idea is simple yet profound. So, our choices and actions have consequences. That is what it is. And we are accountable for all those results. It's a reminder. It's not something to be feared for, but it's just more like a reminder that, we can shape our own destinies through our actions and decisions. So that is the law of cause and effect. And the next one is the law of polarity. So here, yeah. So here, every experience in life exists in contrast to something else, right? There is good, there is bad, light, dark, success, failure, just opposites, calm, chaos, right? So it is part of the design. So when it comes to emotions, again, each emotion is a range within a spectrum, right? You can't define happiness without sadness and, excitement without boredom, right? So, it's all part of the same thing, just the different ends of the spectrum. So, uh, they are different degrees of the same thing and they have something to teach you. Anger might be showing, say, something say, anger might be showing you where your boundaries are. Frustration could be the signal that, I'm done with this. Now it's time to shift to something else. Sadness or grief might be proof that something mattered a lot to you. So, um, these emotions aren't necessarily failure, they are just feedback. So, polarity, like good and bad, both are very important. And if you can stop, you don't need to stop resisting them. All that you need to do is to listen to them and then move forward, because at the end of it, contrasts create clarity. Just at the start of the conversation, we were discussing where each of us are for those living in different parts outside India. So where I live, winters are long and there are weeks where sun barely shows up. Actually, in the last 3 weeks, I think there were 2 sunny days. And when I say sunny days, it's like sun visible, or you feel like there is some sun for like maybe 3, 4 hours in a day. Okay, so sun barely shows up, and the cold, of course, feels endless. I'm waiting for April, May when things get better. But when spring finally arrives, you feel happy. Not because spring is objectively perfect, but it is only because I now have a contrast. I know what winter feels like, that it is gloomy, it is cold, right? So the cold makes you appreciate the warmth, the dark, similarly, make the light matter more. Um, and this same contrast exists also in your emotional life too. You appreciate peace because you've lived through chaos. You value joy because you know what sadness or sorrow is like. And similarly, you value connection because you felt loneliness, right? So um, that essentially is the law of polarity, where something not ideal isn't a bad thing. It just helps you create clarity for you to know what is it that you want and what is it that you like, right? So
Charlie,
these were,
quick
yeah,
question.
yeah, Madanish.
It's very exciting to listen to this law of polarity. I have come
Mm-hmm,
across all other laws, but this one maybe I have come across, but I have not thought
mm-hmm,
through enough.
mm-hmm,
Uh, the example that you gave
mm-hmm,
on possibly on grief or sadness,
mm-hmm,
uh, that also having some reason, or there is some positive, or not necessarily something positive, but it does not start and end there was your message, right? In at least that's my understanding. So if you can go up to that first that
Mhm.
rolling window that you had, that emotion thing,
Uh,
the very first to second slide. Yeah.
yeah, you mean this one?
Yeah, yes. So here,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so although you say upward trend and downward pull,
Mm-hmm.
I think you gave an example of grief or something on. Can you repeat that
Yeah,
example? Because
yeah,
it
yeah,
was a
of
very
course.
powerful example, at least for me.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yes,
So,
because
yeah.
it gives us an understanding or a perspective that the lower in the graph here is not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily bad, but
Mm-hmm.
when you double click that, there is something which is deep enough that is useful also, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely. So, no, I think it's good that you connected, one of the last laws we were discussing to this diagram here, because yes, it is very meaningful. And I think the example that I gave was, let's say you're having an experience of grief or sadness, which here is a downward pull or like a low emotion. And for you, so you cannot handle a low emotion with another low emotion. Like, you can't be fearful of a sad situation. You cannot become angry that why am I having to deal with this? So that's not going to help you resolve that situation. But there are two intermediaries. One is courage, like you can see in this in the um, section here, which is between power and force. But also one more, through different other readings that I came across, is acceptance. So courage and acceptance are like the intermediaries that connect force emotion with power emotion. So if you are facing a situation which fills you with one or more of these force emotion, you either accept it if it is a simple one, and you know um, I gave you example of a kid being, in trauma, like is traumatized, is creating a tantrum, and then, you accept the situation rather than being angry at the kid or shaming them for behaving that way. You accept the situation and then show them love. You show them, or create a situation of joy, and then things improve, right? Similarly, we spoke about a situation of sadness or fear, and instead of facing again it with one of the forced emotions, it's important to accept it, which is a intermediary, and then try to find peace, try to reason out did that why are you sad, or the grief is happening, or why are you angry, right? So that's what we spoke about. But in essence, the law of the law that we were talking of,
Polarity.
polarity,
Yeah.
yeah, is definitely interlinked with these emotions and how we can handle them.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. So, um, okay, so yeah, so to end the thought on law of polarity, so it's just important to say, having these emotions which aren't necessarily good, aren't failures, they are just feedback. And you don't need to resist them. You just need to listen to yourself to know for you what is bad, so you can create your own good. For you, what is fear, so you can create your own comfort, and so on, right? So that is what law of polarity is about. Okay, so now um, so there are 12 models, but I restricted myself to these six because probably these six are something that I understand well, or rather, I understand it to the level that I'm able to use it in day to day, and then learned a bit more about. So while each of them individually, I hope makes sense through whatever we discussed. Of course, I'm open to questions and we can discuss after the last couple of slides, but I just want to take this chance to discuss how they all work together. So the first one that we spoke about, which is oneness, the law of oneness. So this helps you to realize your influence in in the reality, right? How when you do something, let's say you feel good and do something, what ripple effect it has in the environment in your reality, versus let's say you are triggered, you're angry and you do something, what ripple effect it has in your reality, right? So that's the first law we saw. The second we saw about vibration, how you can change your emotional baseline, which we also now discussed through, how we can change the emotion, right, between forced and power. Third, we spoke about law of correspondence, how you would like for the universe to, when I say universe, it is everything around you, your environment to respond to you. So, you shift your identity, you have self belief, and then things around you shift to the frequency you are acting in. So that is that. And fourth, we spoke about law of attraction. You have a new mindset, new behavior, new opportunities. In essence, just where your energy flows is where you grow. And cause and effect, we spoke about consistent action creates result. That was our takeaway. And then for law of polarity, using challenges as a redirection and not necessarily as a defeat, right? So while we spoke about many universal laws, oneness, vibration, correspondence, attraction, cause and effect, and polarity, when we step back and look at them together, they are really describing just one thing. They are describing the relationship between your inner world and your outer world. And they are describing how what you believe, what you feel, who you believe you are, and how you behave shape what you experience in life. And if there's one daily practice that brings all of these laws into action, it is gratitude. Um, it's because gratitude reminds you that you are connected to life, which is oneness. Gratitude shifts your emotional state towards trust and openness, which is the law of vibration. Gratitude changes how you see yourself, and that is correspondence. Gratitude changes what you notice and what you act on, which is attraction, law of attraction. And gratitude changes your daily actions and responses, which is cause and effect. And gratitude helps you find meaning even in difficult phases in life, and that is the law of polarity. And and like mentioned here, gratitude is not just about feeling good. It helps you to train your mind, your nervous system, your behavior to move towards a life that you want to create for yourself. And like every change, a positive change doesn't happen in a moment. It changes, it happens when your beliefs, emotions, identity, action, everything start moving in the same direction. And gratitude is one of the simplest and most powerful ways to bring all of these into alignment. So that's the that's the wider summary. Um, Now, Madanish, do we still have a couple of minutes? If yes, I'll just end with one short story.
Yeah. We have 8 minutes
Okay,
to 9, but we can go beyond. The slot on the calendar is at 9:15 IST. So
okay, fine. No,
today being
I'll
a
take.
Friday, it should not be a problem. I assume so.
Okay, okay. No, we'll just take 2 minutes. It's just one interesting story to how you can use gratitude. Not just when things are going well, but also to help look at things in a way that in the not so good times, right? So a few years ago, there was a woman who went through one of the hardest phases of her life. So she had a life which most people thought, or rather would dream of, like a well-paying job. However, if it wasn't her calling, the job wasn't her calling, but a very well-paying job. She was happy being in because of the whole setup, good health, a family she loved, and future she was looking forward to. And within 1 year, She got fired from her job, lost one of her parent, faced a health issue which led to a miscarriage after living what most people would call a successful life. So every morning she woke up feeling like life had taken everything away from her. So one day, her therapist gave her a very simple exercise. So the therapist said, write two letters. Okay, the first letter was to life, from pa- like you are pained because of all of these situations. So write a letter to life, from the place of pain. And the second letter, write a letter to life from the place of gratitude. I know you've gone through all of this, but still put yourself in a place of gratitude and then write this letter. Okay, so the first letter was very easy for her to write, which was to write a letter from a place of pain. So she wrote about unfairness, how things are not good. She wrote about loss, anger, fear about her future and all that. Then she sat for a very long time before writing the second letter, and she finally wrote, thank you for showing me who I am without titles. Thank you for giving me time away from my job to be with my parent who was in the final days, before their demise. Thank you for forcing me to rebuild, even though I didn't want to. And thank you for showing me what I lack in health so I can become more healthier. And then thank you for not letting me live a life that just looked good on the outside, but actually didn't feel right. And then many years later, she said, I thought, to, to the therapist that she was still in touch with, that, I thought gratitude meant being thankful when life was good, but actually, gratitude saved me and it helped me survive and grow. So that is the essence, that it is something that can be used not just at good times to say, all these went well, I'm very grateful for it, but also to introspect when times aren't going good, still finding things within yourself that you're thankful for that can help rebuild to better times, and creating newer goals and meeting them, through it all. So, yeah, that was what I had to share from my different experiences, learnings, and about the different laws, how they connect, work together, and why gratitude plays a very important role through it all. Thank you, and very open to discussing questions if you have any.
You can stop sharing your screen here. Thank you
Yeah,
so much. Thank you so much for this.
thank you.
Saying thank you for smaller things makes sense as well. We have
Yes, of
been
course, of course, of
we
course.
have been told from say children childhood that say thank you. For some reason,
Yes.
being an adult, uh, if I say thank you for Swarna for this Zoom thing, she will tell, "Ennappa, idhukku pa thanks." இது நம்மளுக்குள்ள என்னப்பா but
Yeah,
it feels good, right? So,
yeah,
being
yeah.
grateful of all your times and all of our energies syncing up on 60 minutes for the last 11-12 sessions. I cannot thank you guys enough. My only objective is, or rather my only hypothesis of life is, only if you learn you can grow, and only if you only thing that you can learn is not necessarily only in your control. There are so much to learn outside, even from my kid, who even from a stranger that I meet in a road. If what I observe and what I hear and what I see makes sense, you can learn from anybody. So that is the philosophy in which this initiative was born. Thank you so much, Shalini, again. I think we can go to Rekha because
Yes.
of our maybe Rekha, why am I remembering your feedback? Did you share that feedback to me?
We shared it during our last
Hey,
session.
she was
Yeah.
telling
Because
she's
at
doing a
that time,
journaling.
when Aruna was taking the session, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And
So she
Shalini,
said
you were
next Shalini is coming. Then
correct.
that's when she said all these things.
And
Yeah.
Shalini, you were not, December, you did not make it, right?
No, December I didn't join.
Corner session was super session.
Oh
I will listen
yeah,
in
and
YouTube.
Charlie would have been very happy when she heard literally what Rekha was telling.
Like Shalini's, I was very glad to see Shalini being glad when I told about Rekha's reaction. Over to you, Rekha, for whatever you want to share now. Yeah.
So thank you so much, Shalini. Today's session was like, eye opener,
Thank
and
you.
it, it adds a lot of things. So it has changed the overview of gratitude to the next level. So, so first of all, like, I started doing it. I used to say to my mom, like, I said, like, I remember we used to do one live session, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, we started with after this coming to
This was
here.
during COVID time, no?
Yeah, during COVID time. So after
Yeah.
I got connected, one of the reunions and with Shalini, I got to know about her gratitude journaling, and we did an Insta live during the COVID time.
Yes, yes, yes.
So that made a lot of change with a lot of moms to be, and even me myself. Like one thing I want to share, like for her conclusion. கிராட்டிடியூடுன்றது நம்ம லைஃப்ல ஹாப்பியா இருக்கும்போது மட்டும் கிடையாது. Even when we are going through a toughest phase. So actually it suits me also. So being in a toughest phase of my life for 2-3 months, but still I want to continue with that. And another thing I want to share is something I want to share. I wrote it down. The ripple effect, like she was saying today. If we are in a positive state, அது நமக்கு தொடர்ந்து அது நமக்கு பாசிட்டிவாவே வந்துட்டே இருக்கும். ஸோ தட் வாஸ் அது வந்து 100% அது ஃபேக்ட் தான். ஸோ அது இருக்கும். And another one is the law of vibration that you spoke today also. It was good. It was அந்த வைப்ஸ் சொல்ற மாதிரி இப்போ லோக்கல் டைம் நம்ம கூட இருக்கிற நம்மளுடைய ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் ஆர் ஃபேமிலி ஹூவர் கிவ்ஸ் யூ அ பாசிட்டிவ் வைப், அது நிறைய பேர்கிட்ட நம்மளால அதை ஃபீல் பண்ண முடியுது. அண்ட் அண்ட் கம்மிங் பேக், லைக் கிராட்டிடியூட் வந்து நம்ம எழுதுறப்போ என்ன மாறுச்சுன்னா, ஒன் திங் ஐ சேஞ்ச் வாஸ் ஐ ஸ்டாப் கம்ப்ளைனிங் அண்ட் ஐ ஸ்டார்டட் காம்ப்ளிமெண்டிங். So,
Hmm.
and I started noticing, I started to appreciate the little things around me. லைக் காலையில எழுந்து அந்த பேர்ட்ஸோட சவுண்ட்ஸே வந்து எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஹாப்பியா அதை
Yeah,
ஃபீல் பண்ணிருக்கு. ஸோ
yeah,
யூஸ்வலி ஐ டோன்ட் appreciate those, but once I started doing this gratitude, சின்ன சின்ன விஷயம் I started appreciating, and I started appreciating with the others also. லைக் என்னோட மெய்ட் வந்து எனக்கு ஏதாவது ஃப்ரூட்ஸ் கட் பண்ணி கொடுத்தா கூட சே ஹர் தேங்க்யூ. ஸோ
yeah,
இல்ல நான் வந்து லைக் ரொம்ப இதுவா வந்து இல்ல எனக்கு எடுத்துட்டு வாங்க அப்படின்னு நான் சொல்லுவேன். லைக் இப்ப வந்து அது கொண்டு வரும்போது ஐ said லைக் தேங்க்யூ. த வே ஐ டாக் டு அதர்ஸ் இட் செல்ஃப், அது ஒரு கமாண்ட் மோட்ல இருந்து இட் வாஸ் அது வந்து ஒரு ரெக்வெஸ்ட் மோடாவே அது வந்து போயிடுச்சு. அண்ட் பீப்புள் ஆல்சோ ஸ்டார்டட் லைக்கிங் இட். இட் இஸ் பீங் மோர் இன் தட் வே. பட் ஃபியூ சில இடத்துல ஐ எம் டூயிங் ஸ்டில் த கமாண்டிங்ல தான் இருக்கும். அண்ட் ஸோ அது இருக்கு. ஸோ பாசிட்டிவ் மைண்ட் செட் அது கண்டிப்பா அது இன்னும் எனக்கு ஜாஸ்தி ஆயிட்டே தான் இருக்கு. ஸோ தட் இஸ் ஹவ் gratitude has changed my life. So still I'm doing it, and I also have advised. And Shalini, I've also shared it to Shalini, I guess. Like one of my
yeah.
moms also started doing it,
Yes.
and she had changes. ஸோ அது வந்து அதை ஒருத்தங்க அதை சொல்லி அதை ஃபாலோ பண்ணி அவங்க லைஃப்ல அதை சேஞ்ச் ஆகுதுன்றது தெரியும் போது இட் கெட்ஸ் யூ லாட் ஆஃப் ஹாப்பினஸ். அது வந்து ஐ மீன்
Yeah, that's so true. So
மோர்
true, Rekha.
த வேர்ட்ஸ் தட் வி கேன் கெட் இட்.
No, thank you so much for sharing. And I actually feel like it's very heartwarming to hear, everything you shared, just to know that, like a simple sharing of things that you practice can, also benefit somebody who is practicing. And then, the ripple effect continues, and, you share with your students or like moms to be. And then, it's such a beautiful feeling. Thank you.
Anybody else? I have a few points, but yeah, money.
Yeah. Okay. So thing is, Shalini, of course, you have been both of the world, both in India and in foreign
Yeah,
states,
money, if you
right?
can be a video, if possible.
Video walking Macha.
No
Okay,
problem.
you
No
can't
problem.
see me only.
It shows your commitment, man. Okay.
எதுக்கு committedனு தெரியல. Okay, fine. I was on a office work and this is my regular timing. தெரியல அருணா எஃபெக்டா என்ன எஃபெக்ட்னு ஏதோ செஞ்சுட்டு இருக்கேன். Okay. So Shalini, thing is, you are in both part of the world, இல்ல? இந்தியால பேசிக்கா I don't know how comfortable everybody is in Tamil actually. சரியா, new participants.
I think
Okay.
எல்லாருமே
எல்லாருக்கும் தமிழ்
speaks
தெரியும்னா fine.
தமிழ் நினைக்கிறேன். ஆமா, கணேஷ்,
Okay.
ஜெயன், தினேஷ்,
Go ahead.
சரத்,
Yeah. So Indians, we are not brought up with this thanking for small things stuff, right? Like, தெரில, I have not seen much in India, but all around the world, people used to do it. ஒரு சூப்பர் மார்க்கெட் போனா கூட எல்லாத்துக்கும் தேங்க்ஸ் சொல்லுவாங்க. And they do a lot of thanking in everything. Do you feel the ideology differences in both the places in comparison with whatever topic we are talking? So you feel this gratitude thing is better there compared to India, or how it is? Because of course they do a lot of thanking for everything. So that's why I'm asking.
See, I mean, I think one is, saying thank you, but the other is, I think also, how people around
Meaning
you
it.
behave in
Okay.
certain situations, right? Okay, culturally, maybe number India, we say less of it, but I don't, feel that, how, let's say, your friend circle will step up for you when there is a need versus how your family will be there for a situation may not be essentially the same way abroad, right? Like,
yeah.
so
Westernization, of course.
yeah, I mean, it's just each one's of course cultural alignment also. Ipo, I'm just giving you a random example, right? Like, just culturally, maybe in the Western world, like, you know, growing up, maybe young boys are taught to hold the door for the women, for example. And secondly, let's say, even as a girl, let's say if I open the door, I wait to see if someone behind me is coming. And then you hold the door for them rather than just leaving it close, right? Versus, let's say, I remember now first when I went on a small trip abroad and came, and then, I was at a client place in OMR, Chennai, and then I was holding the door, and people just kept walking past, right? So just holding the
Thought you
door.
were a doorkeeper.
So, yeah. So yes, there are like cultural differences, but I think in the topic of gratitude, like, I feel, yes, people say thank you a lot, but I don't feel any less when it comes to, our um, Indian culture, where actually people showing up when there is a need, and, and reciprocating also, right? Saying, okay, maybe I may have not told thank you for something, but I know I have to be there in a certain situation for somebody because they are my friend or because they were there for me, So that's my take. I'm sure, like,
Okay.
others can also add from your experiences.
So, Mani, I want to add something.
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
it is very cultural. I accept that, but it doesn't mean no. Being in both the worlds, I'm saying Americans
Yeah.
are usually more vocal. If they see something, they will actually tell it. If they find something like I always get you have beautiful hair and you have your dress is very nice and see Indians வந்து அவங்களுக்குள்ளேயே வந்து சொல்லிப்பாங்க அந்த பொண்ணு dress நல்லா இருக்குல்ல அப்படி அப்படி சொல்லி they won't go to that person and tell vocally outside they are always like அவங்க ஏதோ தப்பா நினைச்சுப்பாங்களோ நம்மள ஏதாவது நினைச்சு அந்த மாதிரி மைண்ட் செட்லயே இருப்பாங்க but it's not like they are unkind அந்த unappreciative கிடையாது but they are just less vocal. Indians are just less vocal, that's all. And
Okay.
going and the door holding one, it is a very part of the norm in US where you hold the door.
Yes, yes.
My parents came, my example, see, both were working, okay. Now they're retired. Both were working, so they have a reasonable understanding about the outside world. My dad immediately understood, oh, here people who hold doors for others lab.
Maybe I have to do that.
So yeah, so he started doing it. He also started doing it. But ஆனா எங்க அம்மா மூஞ்சில அடிச்சு சாத்திட்டு போயிட்டே இருப்பாங்க. So it was, it is also like the willingness to change to the surroundings also is there.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so it depends on person to person. It doesn't really mean if you just slam the door on a person, doesn't mean you are rude. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it is considered that way
But
in
they
that
consider
part of
it
the
that
world.
way.
They consider
Those
it like that.
places, if you
It
don't
does.
do it, they consider it rude. See, I literally have an example. When I was in Dubai, and you are supposed to walk on the left, and we Indians, we don't have that policies, right? So I was walking on the right or something, and people are staring at me, and some people were literally dashing. I was like, what's going on? You are supposed to walk that side. How does it
See,
change, man? That's my
no,
destination. I just have to go there.
see, it's all, again, it's all cultural, and it is, you have to adapt to it. See, எனக்கு
Yeah.
வந்து first நான் வந்து கனடாக்கு டொரண்டோக்கு வந்தேன், and it was a stereotype where Canadians are super nice people, அப்படி இப்படின்லாம், very gentle and all. And I got
Mm.
honked at, like they were honking at me at least like 4 or 5 times. They were honking. I got honked at in the downtown area. I was like, these people are not nice. என்னை பார்த்து ஹாங்க் அடிக்கிறாங்க. These people are not nice at all அப்படின்னு நினைச்சுக்கிட்டேன். But then I came to India. அவ்வளவுதான். Then I understood, here people communicate. அந்த ஹாங்கிங்ல கம்யூனிகேட் பண்றாங்க. தள்ளு,
Yeah, yeah.
இப்படி போ,
Their honking is a sin, actually. If you honk, it is a bad thing. People stare at you like, why are you doing that? Dude, horror is there for a purpose, right? Don't do like showing curiosity.
No, the first 1 month I was getting a headache just by walking on the road. But now I feel, no, it's not that I got accustomed to it, but now I feel why they are doing it. It's just that you have to have some empathy, to be on their shoes also, to understand their point of view. That's all.
I also feel, Mani, like culturally also, our expression of gratitude has always been divinized. Like இப்ப நம்ம பொங்கல் கூட இட்ஸ் தேங்க்ஸ் கிவிங் இதுதான். லைக் நம்ம சாப்பாடு, நம்ம கல்ச்சர்ல ஆல்மோஸ்ட் எவ்ரிவேர் நம்ம சாப்பிடுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி we do a நெய்வேத்தியம், we offer it to God and we take it. Our gratitude is more towards the divine, because what we believe is like what Shalini said, that oneness is there, and it is the same divine that is there within everything and everyone. And that's why we have it as a part of our culture to divinize our gratitude, so that we all, get attuned to the highest. நம்ம வாயில தேங்க்யூ சொல்றது எல்லாம் நல்லா தான் இருக்கு. I'm not denying that. But our level of gratitude is lot more refined and lot more என்ன சொல்றது, higher level.
It's already part of our life,
PhD
actually.
levelல இருக்கோம் நம்ம. Saying thank you is probably like 5th standard, 6th standard level, I feel. So when we start practicing what has been a part of our culture mindfully and with understanding, everything that Shalini said, right, it's already there. When she said polarity, it's there in Bhagavad Gita. It's not, these are applicable everywhere, and it has been systematically offered to us as a body of knowledge. We also have to connect back to, our idhu with a lot of understanding.
So we are not that much expressive, maybe.
Yeah, we are
That's
not
okay. That's a cultural thing.
we are
Avladhan.
not expressive.
That's what. We
And
are not
if you go,
expressing, but we do
it's
have
not
it.
just us. It's not just us. Even
Most of the
Middle
Asian
East,
cultures
Middle
is,
East, Indonesia, Philippines, they're kind of same.
yeah.
Mhm.
மேபி நம்ம அமெரிக்கால இண்டிஜினஸ் பாப்புலேஷன்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கிறோம், ஈவன் ஆஸ்திரேலியால இண்டிஜினஸ் பாப்புலேஷன்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கிறோம்னா, மேபி தே மே ஆல்சோ நாட் பி லைக் தட். We don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
are never represented.
Again, adding a new dimension, or rather a tangential one, I acknowledge Aruna's comments on this. Verbal thank you is 600, 700 stuff, but I would be happy to be in that state in my life or all life. That is a different topic. But on that statement of you being child at your heart, also whenever you are like that, right? For example, let's take example of the close family, right? Within the four walls, you meet your wife, you meet your husband, appa amma. On the other side, going back to Abby's point on not necessarily empathizing, but thinking from the other side, ஏன் இது இவ்வளோ தேங்க்யூ சொல்கிறான், என்ன ஏன் இவனும் வளர வேலைன்னு திங்கும் பண்ணலாம். பட் வென் யூ மூவ் அவுட் ஆஃப் த வால், ரைட், just try saying thank you to obviously the probability of us taking a town bus in Chennai is zero, zilch only. Just take a town bus, okay, from next time from Thirumangalam to Coimbatore, right, instead of an auto or an Uber. Try saying thank you to,
Yeah.
to the conductor after he gives the ticket. He will be like, யாரா அது, நான் நான் ஏதாவது பண்றேன் பெருசா
இல்ல
இல்ல, அட் த
இன்னைக்கு
சேம்
நான்
டைம்
ஆட்டோல
நீங்க எந்த ஊர்ல அப்படின்னு கேட்பான்.
தேங்க்யூ டு இல்ல இன்னைக்கு நான் வரப்போ எப்பயுமே நான் சொல்லுவேன் தேங்க்யூ ஆட்டோ டிரைவருக்கு எப்பயுமே
Yeah,
நான் வந்து
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
இல்ல
To
அது
customers, to everybody
சம்டைம்ஸ்
who is,
வந்துரும்.
Right?
See,
yeah.
நம்ம
To make,
தேங்க்யூவோ நன்றி வரும் எனக்கு
and
ஆக்சுவலா. ஏன்னா
all
தேங்க்யூவோட
this is an
நன்றி ஈஸியா
assumption
வரும்.
that it comes from the heart, not necessarily for the
Yes.
vocals.
ஆனா
Yes.
ஒரு சில பேர்
Yeah,
அதை சந்தோஷமா பார்ப்பாங்க. and some of them stare at me, some of them are happy about it.
that's fine. As long
But
as
I
you
was
are
about
doing
to express it, we do it. That's it.
That's
Yeah.
it,
If you're
yeah.
happy doing it, that's all it
And that's
matters,
it.
Yeah,
right?
that's all that
Yeah.
Exactly.
matters. But Shalini, the way you had summed everything up, no, how the laws come together, I think that is like so good. Like,
Thank you,
yeah,
Aruna.
abstract concept illama, அது எப்படி like in our everyday life, how it comes to play, in the way you have summarized it was really nice, Shalini, and
Thank you.
such
Thank
a
you.
wonderful presentation. I really enjoyed
Thank you
it.
so much. Thank you.
Yeah, and keep doing your inspiring work, and thank you for taking the time to putting. பார்க்க ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா இருக்கு, but I know how much thought has gone behind every word that you had put in your PDF. It's really amazing, Shalu. So articulate and so to the point. I mean, I really loved the session today. Thank you so much.
No, it means a lot, and it's also a topic that really interests me, something I'm sticking to for many, many years now, and I try to learn more about it. So, just having the possibility to share it with more people who would like to try it, benefit from it, and just for me also to, like go back and think on different aspects, it helps me a lot as well. So more than, of course, sharing it with everybody, I also find joy in like, putting it together, thinking through it. So
Really
thank
good.
you all.
One thought I would like to add to this
Of course.
polarized thing that you shared.
Mhm.
So, because I study yoga philosophy, and
Yes, yes.
so it is the nature of the mind to only live in dualities. Mind cannot perceive anything that is non-dual.
Mhm.
நீ சொன்னல இப்ப ஒரு ஹாப்பினஸ் எப்ப பர்சீவ் பண்ணணும்னா only when there is sadness, dark.
Yes. Mhm.
Mind can only perceive duality.
Mhm.
So the goal of all yoga, all religion also for that
Mhm.
matter,
Mhm.
this spirituality is to transcend this level of duality. And in the most basic sense, how this duality works is we constantly run towards what we like, what gives us
Mhm.
comfort, and we are
Mhm.
constantly moving away from what we dislike, what
Mhm.
makes us comfortable and all. We run
Mhm.
towards pleasure, we move away from pain. This is how we are naturally wired. But
Mhm.
humans have that ability to, as okay, these two are actually the same, but I have to
Mhm.
translate about it, right? Above
Mhm.
it. So,
Mhm.
so while we recognize the polarity, we should also aim to be able to look at it with equanimity. And that is
Mm.
definitions of yoga. They say samatvam yoga uchyate means whatever pleasure, pain, all these dualities எல்லாத்தையுமே ஈக்குவலா பார்க்க தெரியறது is what
Is
yoga is.
wisdom like your
Yes.
higher level? Okay,
Yes, when you
interesting.
transcend the mind, you go to the no
Mm.
mind, and then you feel that oneness, that connection becomes
Mm.
lived experience to to all of us. So yeah, so that is something that we can consciously try also in our day-to-day life. Simple
Mhm.
thing. பிடிக்காது உருளைக்கிழங்கு தான் பிடிக்கும் ஓகே பார்க்காயோ உருளைக்கிழங்கோ ஏதோ
There is this beautiful story that I was brought up with, which is an example of how Lord Ram accepted everything. It's
yeah
related to acceptance. Appa always tells, அன்றளந்த செந்தாமரை போல இருக்கணும். அன்றளந்த செந்தாமரைனா, I think I'm right. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. The lotus leaves or the lotus petals is not attached to the water, right? The water is separate. So whatever happens, it is it is always related to the laws, right? It is for a
Yeah.
reason. Nanchana acceptance vandrum.
ஆமா.
It is for a reason. Nanakkaati தான் நீ question பண்ணுவ first of all.
ஆமா, ஆமா.
Right? Whether this is
Exactly.
my for liking, whether this is for good or bad, like, unlike, comfort, uncomfort, எல்லாமே it is of no use when you go to the next level of acceptance or taking the next best action, and action being the only one thing in the world which is in your control. There's nothing outside of your action which is not in which is not in your control. Are you doing something which is in your control, which is action? If you are doing something, do. If you are not doing, don't do. ரைட், இதை ரொம்ப சிம்பிள் ஈக்குவேஷனாக போட்டுடலாம். பட் சிம்பிள் ஈக்குவேஷனாக போட்டால் அது காம்ப்ளெக்ஸாக புரிஞ்சுக்கிற மாதிரி இருக்குது. தட்ஸ் த ரீசன் ஆஃப் ஆல் தீஸ் செஷன்ஸ், ரைட்? ஸோ எனிபடி எல்ஸ் பிஃபோர் வி க்ளோஸ்? ஐ saw somebody called Anand join towards the last. I'm not sure which Anand, but yeah, we are almost done with this session. Is it Anand from 4F, or I'm not sure which Anand is this? Anand, are you listening here? Can you unmute yourself? You literally joined like towards the end. Okay, I think he's busy. Okay, for the ritual that we always do, can Mani, PS, Sharath, everybody come on video? Okay. Sharath did a beautiful session. If you have missed, do check the YouTube of Journey of Being Understood. My newer message to all this year has been on the concept of understanding, because I had a huge debate in my college and school groups in pockets of this understanding topic only. And it was very eye-opening for me to listen to the other side, where people were trying to convince me that understanding is not the important thing. I was in the side of how can you even not understand and be good in terms of relationship, etc. That's a separate topic. Maybe I'll do my session on.
Yes, you
I'll
should.
do understanding 2.0 from my perspective.
Yes.
Continuing with Sharath.
Yes.
Because he was quoting a lot of official examples, but yeah, I think also personal. But this is all pure personal, and multiple hypotheses came through that discussions as well. Okay, Dinesh, Ganesh, PS, and Anand, can you come on video if possible? One last time, so that we can take a screenshot, which we normally do. Okay, super. Ganesh is already. Okay. Prasanna, is it possible for you to come? The most committed person logging from office.
எடுத்துட்டியாடா வாயில
இல்ல
வலிக்க
இல்ல
வச்சிருச்சு.
I was waiting. Wait, okay, let me do it. Hold on. Sorry. Okay,
Before
1, 2,
taking
3,
say
cheese.
one.
Yeah. Look at the camera. Thank you, folks. Okay, you
Thank
can.
you, Shanu. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
all.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Aruna, for
Amazing
the
session.
WebEx.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
One
you,
minute.
everybody.
1 minute. The next session for February is tentatively scheduled for February 22nd, Sunday. It's going to be by Jeevita, who was my co-host. So Jeevita and myself did the second session of the first season. Now we are splitting it up. She's supposed to do genetics 201, but she just confirmed me. Unfortunately, she's not here today. It's related to genetics, but she purposefully has named her session as Fish and Art, being an abstracted topic. Obviously, it's an acronym. She will explain what fish and art means. This is going to be on February 22nd, Sunday evening, IST. Thank you. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye, guys. Have a great
you.
weekend then.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.